Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to take a vibrant, magical storybook tour of how the very first world was finished. We're opening up an ancient text today to explore, well, really one of the most famous stories ever written down, the story of a brand new Earth. It's a tale absolutely packed with sparkling rivers, hidden treasures, wild animals, and literally the very first garden. So get comfortable, open your eyes wide, because we are about to step right into this incredibly colorful world.
Have you ever wondered how the very first garden was planted? Just imagine a time when there were no wild bushes on the earth, and honestly, no plants had even sprung up yet. No fields, no forests, nothing. It's the ultimate blank canvas, an edge-of-your-seat adventure just waiting to happen. So, how did this incredible, brightly colored place actually come to be? Let's turn the page and find out.
Section 1. The Great Rest.
So our amazing story actually starts right at the finish line. Our text tells us that the heavens, the earth, and literally everything in them were finally completely finished. God had been working incredibly hard, making everything you could possibly imagine. But on the seventh day, the work was done. And what do you do after a massive job? You take a break. On the seventh day, God rested from all this work, and because of that, God blessed the seventh day and separated it, making it a super special and holy day, totally different from all the rest.
But wait, let's look at the earth itself for a second. The text says that back then, Adonai, God, hadn't caused it to rain yet. There were no rain clouds, no storms, and absolutely no one there to cultivate or farm the ground. Instead, something totally magical happened. A gentle mist floated right up from the earth itself. Imagine a shimmering, floating cloud of water rising up to give a giant drink to the entire surface of the ground.
Section 2. Breathing life.
Okay, now that the ground is perfectly watered, it's time for one of the absolute most exciting parts of the entire story. And this brilliantly illustrates the magic of it all. First, God reached down and formed a person entirely from the ordinary dust of the ground. Just think about that for a second. Simple dust. But then came step 2. God breathed the breath of life right into his nostrils. And amazingly, step 3 happened. That dust woke up and became a real living being. From the dusty ground to a breathing person in 3 incredible steps.
Section 3. The Colorful Garden.
Now this brand new person needed a spectacular place to live, right? Well, welcome to Eden. Adonai, God, planted a beautiful, vibrant garden toward the east, and that's exactly where he put the person he just formed. And listen, this wasn't just any regular garden. God caused every kind of tree to grow right out of the ground. The text specifically tells us these trees were incredibly pleasing to look at, just bursting with color and completely full of delicious, tasty food. But right in the very middle of this amazing garden stood 2 super special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And as you can imagine, a garden this beautiful needs plenty of water. So a massive, sparkling river flowed right out of Eden to water everything. But as it flowed, it did something unbelievable. It magically split into exactly 4 separate streams. Let's check out their names. The first stream is the Pishon. The second is the Gishon, which winds all the way through the land of Cush. The third river is the Tigris, flowing toward the east of Ashur. And the fourth beautiful river? That's the Euphrates. Imagine these 4 bright blue rivers winding their way out of the magical garden and across the land.
Now what's really interesting here is what we find if we follow that first river, the Pishon. The text tells us it winds throughout the entire land of Havilah, and guess what's hidden there? Amazing treasures. The source says the gold of that land is extremely good. Plus, you can find aromatic resin, which smells absolutely wonderful, and bright, beautiful onyx stones. The world wasn't just green, it was literally glittering with hidden gold and gems.
Section 4. The One Important Rule.
Living in this beautiful place came with a big responsibility, and honestly, one very serious warning. God took the person and gave him a super important job, to cultivate and care for this brilliant garden. But he was also given an order. Over on the one hand, God says, you may freely eat from every tree in the garden. That's total freedom. Eat the apples, the oranges, whatever delicious fruit was there. But on the other hand, there's a giant warning label. Except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God warned the person not to eat from it, because on the day he did, it would become absolutely certain that he would die. It was the one single rule in paradise.
Section 5. Naming the animals. Let's move on and see how this builds, because God noticed something missing in the garden. He said, it isn't good that the person should be alone. I'll make for him a companion suitable for helping him.
So God went back to the ground. From that ground, he formed every wild animal and every single bird that flies up in the air. And then God brought this massive parade of animals right up to the person to see what he would name them. Think about it for a second. If a giant, stomping animal with a long trunk walked up to you, or a squawking bird with bright pink feathers, what would you call them?
Well, the first person got to decide. Whatever the person called each living creature, that instantly became its official name. The person stood there and gave names to all the livestock, all the birds soaring in the air, and every single wild animal that marched by in this fantastic, colorful parade.
Section 6. A perfect companion.
So the crucial point is that there was a catch at the end of the animal parade. Even after meeting and naming every amazing animal, for Adam, there was still not found a companion suitable for helping him. The animals were great, sure, but they weren't quite right. So, and lean in close for this part because it gets very quiet, God caused a deep, deep sleep to fall upon the person. And while he was fast asleep, God carefully took out just one of his ribs. Then he closed up the empty place with flesh.
So what did God do with that rib? Well, he magically transformed it. God took that single rib from the person and made a woman person. And when she was completely formed, God brought her right over to the man person.
And when the man wakes up and sees her, he doesn't just say hello, he practically cheers. Listen to what he says. He joyfully shouts, "At last, this is bone from my bones and flesh from my flesh." He declares she is to be called woman because she was beautifully taken right out of man. Finally, he had the perfect companion.
The story explains that this amazing moment is exactly why, even today, a man leaves his father and mother to stick closely with his wife, and they become like one single piece of flesh together. And the story ends this beautiful chapter by telling us that they were both completely naked in their garden, the man and his wife, and they were absolutely not ashamed. They were perfectly happy in their vibrant, brand new world.
What an absolutely incredible story. We've seen magical mists, glittering gold, mysterious trees, and a fantastic parade of creatures. So I want to leave you with this final thought. If you could walk right into this colorful, amazing garden today and God asked for your help, which wild animal would you want to name first? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer tour, and keep asking great questions.